the Bible is God's true message to us about himself. There's a man in the Bible named Jeremiah who was a prophet. God gave prophets messages to share with the people. The people may have looked good on the outside, but they weren't following God with their hearts. Let's look in the Bible and see what happened. Jeremiah told of a new promise. For many years, Jeremiah spoke God's message to the people of Judah. He reminded them that God had made a covenant, a special promise that if they obeyed God, he would bless them. But the people did not obey God. Each person instead followed his own heart and ignored God's commands. Jeremiah said the people of Judah had a sin problem, and this problem wasn't going away. It was permanent, like words carved into stone. And now, God had to punish their sin. God said the people would lose their land, their wealth, and their freedom. Jeremiah explained that people's hearts fool them into thinking they are better than they actually are. They trick people into wanting things or doing things God does not want for them. The people didn't want to listen to Jeremiah, and this made Jeremiah sad. He warned them that God's punishment was coming. But Jeremiah also said that God had a plan to change his people's hearts. God promised a new and better covenant so the people could be saved from their sins. Hold on. God had made a promise with his people called a covenant. If they obeyed him, he would bless them. But like us, they had a difficult time obeying God. They followed their own hearts and wants instead of following God. Can you relate? Have you ever had a hard time following a rule when you just wanted to do your own thing? Sometimes we think we know best, but we disobey and break the rules, there are consequences. Jeremiah warned the people to change their hearts and gave them good news. And just like the people, we've been given hope, because God will forgive us too when we change our hearts to follow him. Let's see what God said next. God told Jeremiah, "I will put my teaching within them and write it on their hearts," meaning they will always know and remember my commands. I will be their God, and they will be my people. They will all know me. I promise to forgive their sins, and nothing will break my promise. God would give his people power to obey his commands, and he would forgive them. God made a permanent covenant with his people, a forever promise that could never be undone. God promised never to turn away from doing good toward his people. He promised that he would help them choose to live in ways that would always honor God. At the beginning of this Bible story, it wasn't looking good for the people of Judah. They had chosen to do what they thought was best instead of following what God said was best. That is called sin. And because of sin, there were consequences. The people were separated from God because of their wrong choices. But God wanted to give the people a new heart that would seek to follow him. He wanted them to be changed from the inside out. So, God gave Jeremiah words of hope to tell the people. God promised to forgive them and made a permanent promise to help them choose to live in a way that honors him. Now, God wants our thoughts and feelings to follow him too. He wants to make us new from the inside out. So many times we hear we should follow our hearts and do what makes us happy. Now, that might sound nice, but because of sin, our hearts want things that aren't part of God's plan for our lives. But when you experience the forgiveness of Jesus and trust him, he gives you a new heart that helps you know him, love him, and live the way he created you to live. There may be times you struggle to follow God instead of following what you want, and you're not alone. The great news is that God promises to be with you and to help you choose God's way. He will give you the strength to obey and follow him. All right, I better get these finalized plans to the team. See ya.
I know how we can learn about how God forgives us. Let's
look in the Bible.
Remember, the Bible is God's book.
The Bible is true and it's for you.
Today's Bible story comes from the book of Jeremiah. Can you say Jeremiah?
Jeremiah.
We can see in this story how God changed the hearts of his people to help them follow him. It's time for our Bible story. Jeremiah told of a new promise. Jeremiah was a prophet. A prophet is a person who shared special messages from God. The prophets listened to God and told the people what God said. God's message for his people was bad news. God reminded the people that he had made a special promise to them. God's promise was that if they obeyed him and did what God said to do, he would bless them. But the people did not obey. No matter how hard they tried, they kept making wrong choices and turning away from God. This is called sin. So God said he would punish them because they did not obey. Jeremiah said that because of sin, people's hearts fool them into thinking they are very good when they are not. They trick people into wanting things or doing things that God does not want for them. But God had a plan to deal with sin, the wrong choices people make, and change people's hearts. God promised to make a new promise with them, a forever promise that could never be broken. In this new promise, God was going to put his law in their hearts. God would give the people power to obey him. God said, "I will forgive their wrong choices and never again remember their sin."
Did you hear that? God gave Jeremiah a special message. God wanted to change the people's hearts to follow him instead. Even though the people made wrong choices, God forgave them and made them like new.
Do you see something? It's our super clue. Do you remember what to do? Great job. Putting new batteries in a toy can help a toy work like new. God gives us a new heart to help us follow and know him. Only God can give us a new heart when he forgives us of our wrong choices.